Somatofulness is the path of the body and also the most powerful force which is running through the body, which is the energy of life. Body is the oldest living tradition, more than 3.5 billion years old. In fact, it is the only living tradition. Rest are dead. Because what we have only words, only systems, only practices. This is the only living tradition system. It is 24 hours with us. It contains the secret of life. It is the most beautiful book. But we know so little about it. That is what somatofulness is, to feel and understand our body and its living energy. To become fully alive, to fully live, to clean everything in the flood of this passionate energy. So we are going to affirm this body and its energy by touching any part of the body the way you want, very gently affirming, and I will chant 3 lines and will tell you the meaning. Deham ham. I am the body. Manasaham. I am the intelligence of the body. Shaktiham. I am the life energy in this body. So I am the body, I am the intelligence of the body, I am the life energy which is flowing through the body. So with that affirmation, we'll start with the breathing to bring our focus here, to relax and energize. So please close your eyes softly. Shoulders relaxed. Back straight but not tense. And where we are going to focus during this breathing? On life energy. And how we experience that life energy? Sensations, vibrations, tingling, pressure inside the body. That is our focus. So now bring your attention to your breath. As we inhale and exhale. And relaxing in this inhalation and exhalation. because this breath contains also the life energy. So in yoga, we call it pranayam, pran, the life energy. And through this breathing, we can regulate it. And now the breathing becomes a little more slow, a little more deep, but remains gentle. Slow, deep, and gentle breathing, finding your natural rhythm, relaxing into it. We may feel our breath, but we also are going to feel sensations, vibrations, and maybe we can hear them around the head area. Slow, deep, and gentle breathing. Feeling the breath and also feeling the sensations and hearing them. Sensation of life energy which pervades the universe, make everything alive, our body, plants, animals. And now, just relaxing with closed eyes. Feeling the sensations, focusing around the head area to hear them. And now, slowly opening our eyes. Breathing exercises are known as or called pranayam, connecting to the life energy. First, we connect to the life energy within this body, and that, and then to the life energy everywhere in our world, in our universe. Two most important problems which we are facing as human beings are: number one, emotional and mental health problems, and number two, destruction of nature. There are so many other problems, perhaps hundreds of them, but these are on the very top: emotional and mental health problems, environmental crises, or destruction of nature. And they are intertwined. We cannot separate them. They are totally dependent on each other. They are the result of each other. So, we are going to explore in some details. So, the first one will be emotional and mental health problem. There is a big Facebook group about emotional intelligence. And I asked a question on that forum: are we emotionally and mentally healthy? And hundreds of responses came, and nearly all of them said no. Because what we call normal people are truly not healthy. This is normal unhealth, but they are not sick. And we talked about it in the past also. But because majority are suffering from emotional and mental health problems, so we think it as normal. And it becomes very clear if we look behind the faces of the people. If we can feel their heart or their mind, there is such a sense of inner conflict, confusion, chaos. There is so little trust. There is such a sense of loneliness. There is so little intimacy. Relationships come and they disappear. So if we ask people, can you trust even one person 100%? There will be few. Our faces may look nice. Everything in our house is organized. Our streets are clean. Our computers are functioning perfectly. Everything is in its place, but what is not in place in our heart and mind? And we hide it. We don't want to reveal it. It will be too much. But it is revealed in our actions. So if you really look at the world, inequality, violence, the way we connect to each other, lack of love, lack of compassion, wars, even the richest country, during this pandemic, they have plenty, including the vaccines, but they refuse to give to the poorest countries of the world. And that decision is not on the top. That decision actually is collective. We cannot blame only one or two people. It comes individually from all of us. Because we suffer. What is the reason? Let's linger upon that for a minute to understand it, because then we will connect it to the problem of the nature. In us, our life energy is blocked. Not fully blocked, because still we are able to function. Our body is functioning, our thoughts are functioning, our emotions are functioning. So it is partially blocked. So what happens when in this body, life energy is not fully flowing? We have a sense of deficiency. Life deficit, body deficit actually. So we never feel comfortable within our body, because our body is not real. Why it is not real? Although there is a physical system, but life energy is not present in whole of the body. Because if we have the experience of full life energy in the body, that will be the moment of total passion, total aliveness. We are disconnected from the body. And that is why in our time, young generation tattooing became a very widespread phenomena. And it's so beautiful because it's an art form. So I'm not saying negative about it, but why people tattoo their body? Because they want to connect to their body. They want to affirm the body. Because real tattooing is quite a painful process. And sometimes people just cover themselves. Why they do that? Because they want to feel their body. They want to connect to their body. They want to say, my body is beautiful. But why they are disconnected? Because this life energy is not flowing fully. So we are constricted because life energy is not full. So we are constricted. We are living only a fraction of the possibility. So when we are not living from inside and life energy is blocked, it becomes stagnant, it is going to create pathology, just like a lovely sparkling water. If it stagnates over a long period of time, it will rot, it will stink, unless we keep on cleaning it regularly. So that stagnation of the life energy emerges as emotional and mental health problem. Anger, fear, jealousy, guilt, sadness, and we keep it at bay so that we will keep on functioning in the world, but inside something is not right. That is called normal unhealthiness. And there is a effect of this blockage of energy on our pleasure centers. And those pleasure centers are not only in the brain, actually each cell of the body. So if you study immune system, if you study endocrine system or any body system, you will find that each cell of our body secretes a pure form of wine. It is in the nature of the body. But because of the flow is not there of life energy, it is deficient. So we search for it in external world. That is why we compete. That is what we want our economy to keep on growing. Because we want to have more and more means to get more and more pleasure. Because without pleasure, either we become anxious or depressed, depending on our personality. So it is everywhere. Now, in critical times, in times of stress, the lid which we put on these emotional and mental health problems is blown. And that is what happens during pandemic. A lot of people think pandemic actually increase the emotional and mental health problems. No, it didn't. What it did, it shattered the lid on what was already there. Any type of chronic stress will break this lid, and whatever is their contents of it will come out. That is why we follow a spiritual path path of yoga, path of religion, what we want to achieve out of all these practices, systems, we want to gain emotional and mental health. Of course, people project it in the form of all kinds of nirvana and samadhi. But actually, what we receive ultimately is a complete, full emotional and mental health, and a body which is full of vitality. Because this blocked energy is now released. But most of the time, what we do in the name of spirituality actually is a psychotherapy. So if you really look into systems and teachings and our gurus, they are not providing any spirituality, but they are consoling us, because we know we are distraught, we are tense, we are stressed, we are suffering. So spirituality in our times is a psychotherapy. Keep everything under the lid. But when a thing like pandemic comes, everything comes on the surface. So that is why this is number one problem now in our world: emotional and mental health problems. And because we are seeking pleasure, we have to. So we will consume anything to have that pleasure. It's a simple fact of life. That is why we want more dollars, more trips, more food, more of everything. Because one feature of our brain and body is, if we are using the same thing again and again, source of pleasure, our brain and body will be habituated. Means the same dose, the same amount won't give us the same pleasure. So we need increasing doses of everything. So in a way, we are a planet of addicts. Some addictions are appreciated, admired. Other addictions are frowned upon. And actually, other addictions which we think are bad don't cause much damage at all. It is the addictions which are admired, appreciated, are the theme for our television stories and magazine as movies. Those are the most dangerous one, because those people are our role models, for many at least. These celebrities, business, politics, corporations, they are actually our role models, but they are the most destructive one. An alcoholic and a drug addict can kill or damage himself or herself and 2-3 people around. But the person who is addicted to a particular lifestyle is capable of much widespread damage. So we have to understand that. And the reason is the same. And our gurus are not different either. Although they preach about all kinds of things, but if you go into their lifestyle, they are also maintaining a very big palatial ashrams. They travel all in first class. They have 20 servants to serve them. It is no different from anyone else in politics or business. And one of the American guru, his house is $12 million cost, and the car they drive, and still they are preaching the preservation of the earth. So now you can see that how this emotional and mental health problem, which is because of the blockage of life energy destroying the nature. Whatever we consume, no matter what it all comes from earth resources, even all synthetic material. Not even 0.00001% will come other than earth or nature. I was reading in the Guardian newspaper that Queen of England lobbied with ministers to bypass the environmental law in Scotland. At such a top level, and Prince Charles and Prince William, they were talking a few days ago about how concerned they are about nature and environment, and we must preserve them. And they are not the only one. All top political leaders do the same. They all do a lip service, but they are not able to change. None of them will say that, listen, I'm going to leave White House, my palace, and I'm going to live in a smaller house because that is more than enough for me. It is an impossibility. So whether we are poor or rich, whether we are spiritual or unspiritual, it doesn't matter. We are in the same boat. Emotional and mental health problem affecting our environment. Because once we have those problems, we don't have pleasure, because pleasure system in the body is obstructed. We seek pleasure. We are dependent for our pleasure on outside agency, and all outside resources, they come from the nature. It is inevitable and we cannot stop it. Who will stop it? So from my point of view, environmental disaster is inevitable. We may make some nice cosmetic changes here and there, put some few parks here, there, recycle a little more, drive a hybrid, all those kinds of things, because we want to be free from guilt. I want to feel comfortable in my mind. I'm doing something for the earth. So we do all those wonderful things. But actually, if you really look deeply into it, it's not going to make any difference much. 1%, 2%. So mental and emotional problem and environmental disaster, those are the two problems completely intertwined. So again, question comes, what I can do? That is where we bring Sumeto fullness. You can call it by any name, it doesn't matter. Because in this living body flows the most beautiful energy of life, the release of which will open this body, open these pleasure center. It is very biological. It is simple. It is direct. It is physical. It is tangible. No need to worry about the teachings of the 100 dead sages. This is the living sage, my body. 3.8 billion years old. It is blocked. It can be opened. And it is not complicated. Once it is released individually, we won't be so deficient in life. The pleasure will come from within. Still, we will be consuming resources, but in optimally. Because if I can derive satisfaction, joy from within, I won't try to grab anything from outside. How to do it? First of all, to become conscious, somatic awareness. Because a lot of our tradition, system, and spirituality, they non-stop talk. Ignore this body, neglect this body, transcend this body, go beyond this body. I am not the body, I am not the mind. People think this body is nothing else but the collection of desires. It's a bag of filth and dirt worthy to be condemned. So we worship the dead system and we condemn a living body. Once we become conscious of this body, acknowledging, feeling it as we talk, as we walk, as we exercise, as we bathe, as we eat, expansion will happen. If you pay attention, things grow. If you don't pay attention to a rose plant, ultimately it will wither. You pay attention, you connect to the rose plant, it will grow because you will be taking care of it. Then there are very simple practices we did in the beginning and Kalpana is going to do at the end. And also understanding the nature of the body. Our body is born with a personality, intelligence of its own. Once we understand it, we will know how to treat this body like a little baby, not the instrument of our desires, our mind, our quest in external world. And the beauty is that once we connect to the body, we will connect to all living beings. Because this body is nothing else but extension of the earth, nature, and the universe. Because we are disconnected from our body, so we are disconnected from the nature. And what we call connection with nature is nothing else but sentimental and intellectual. Actually, truly, we are not connected. If we are truly connected, we won't allow it to be destroyed at our individual level. We must forget about what is happening on earth or global wide. Personally, just a drop in the bucket, if you call it, just in our daily life. Because that is the most important. Unless I am political, unless I am a social reformer, unless I am a business person, then I will think about the whole globe. No, if I am truly worried about the earth, nature, or problems, I have to start right here. And I assure you that once changes happen here, we become automatically change makers also. But we must not worry about others. What exactly I can do in my daily life. And these are the very simple steps about which we explore in details somatofulness to discover the fullness of life in this longest living tradition of the body. All other tradition, Hindu tradition, Christian tradition, this tradition, they are all dead. We just read them, We study them in the books. But this one is fully alive. And it contains the secret of life. And that will be remedy, first of all, our emotional and mental health problem, because it will clean it out. How that process happens, that will be the topic for some other Sunday gathering, exactly the process. So we'll talk about it maybe next Sunday or the Sunday after. So with that, I will stop here and invite Kalpana to take us through somatofulness meditation.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, friends. So let us have experienced this secret of life. Let's experience our body's intelligence, door to complete emotional and mental health now by practicing vibrations of life meditation. We are aware that Om, as Amen in Semitic religion, is a primordial sound of life's energy. It is everywhere, it is unconditional, cuts across all forms and expressions. I'm not going in details of Om because it itself is a vast topic, but we are focusing on today's meditation technique by chanting Om, 10 to 15 chants loudly, and then 10 to 15 chants as whispered, followed by 10 to 15 chants in silence. And then sitting in silence with closed eyes without chanting. Those who don't want to chant Om can make humming sound because both are same, and probably humming is the basic sound before Sanskrit word Om was known, as was first known in Mandukya Upanishad. So everybody is clear about the technique, and let's sit for this meditation wherever you are sitting in a comfortable posture, maybe cross-legged on the floor or on a chair or stool. Gently close your eyes. Your spine is erect. Alignment is maintained, but it is not rigid. Your hands are kept in your lap or on your thighs. Feet are grounded and well rested. Jaw is soft. Shoulders are relaxed. And start breathing with awareness. A gentle breath in and breathe out. Inhale and exhale. Try to settle down your mind. Gentle breath in and breathe out. What we breathe in is not just air, but it is prana, energy. It is the breath that is keeping us alive. Gentle inhalation and exhale at your own pace and rhythm. And now, after this inhalation, during exhalation, start chanting Om. First, we are doing loud chants. Om. Inhale. Each one of us are chanting on our own, in our own rhythm and pace. Listen to the vibrations of your chanting. You're chanting Om loudly, loud enough just so that you can hear, or any person sitting in your room can listen to it. And after this inhalation, this will be last loud chanting of Om or humming. And now start chanting Om as whisper. In whisper, there is no use of voice, just using your breath. My chanting also is not audible on Zoom in whisper because it is just sound of breath. Now this is last whisper chanting. And start chanting Om silently. We are chanting Om silently. Now, this will be last silent chanting of Om. Keeping your eyes closed without chanting, sit in your silent awareness. Listen to Om chanting in your body. In your head space, your brain. This Om chant is going on in your body. Feel the vibrations. You can listen to the sound. Sitting in your silent awareness. Listening to Om heart space, your chest area, your arms, especially your palms and fingers. Whole body is listening to the vibrations. Feel the sensations. Absorb all the sensations and vibrations. Knowledge, experiences, and feelings in your body. You may transcend into conscious tranquility. And now, taking 3 slow and deep breaths, become aware of your body and the space around you. You may open your eyes when you feel like it. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om peace, peace, and peace. Peace with me, peace with others, and peace with the environment. It was experiencing the body's energy, vibrations of life, my own body's intelligence. Someday, these vibrations of life can be felt effortlessly while you are doing your household chores. It is to be experienced by oneself and it cannot be handed over to others like any other wealth. So it is so precious. Om connects us to more and more. We can experience universal consciousness, which has no boundary at all. This technique, with practice, allows us to experience expansion of energy and to be one with the universe and nature. Vibrations are part of our body and with us all the time. And we can experience this bliss with our regular practice. Thank you. Any questions or comments, please?
Yes.
Please, yes.
When so
Who's Kathy? Let Kathy speak first. Kathy, you can go ahead, please.
I wanted to clarify, the question is to unblock my life energy, which is low. I do what you just taught me.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes, please go on.
Is the way to healing any blocked life energy to do what we just did that you taught me just now?
Yes, this is one part of it, Kathy. We have many other practices in somatofulness, and this is one of those.
Thank you.
And yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Suhana, you can go ahead. You were also asking something. Your voice is breaking. You're not audible.
now, can you hear me?
It's breaking. You go ahead if we can understand what you're saying, or you can write in the chat box.
Okay, I am asking you.
Yeah, I don't think we can hear him, so we can skip the question.
Thank you, Suji. Thank you, Kalpana ji. Okay, good night. Shubhratri.
So any other question before we close this session?
Can you hear me now?
No. We can talk about your questions some other time, will be okay. So I will conclude the session with again an affirmation and also a statement. All our happiness, joy, rapture, ecstasy, and bliss, they come from the body. A lot of people think spiritual bliss comes from somewhere there. No. When body becomes free from the mind, it opens its resources, they flow, and we experience them as bliss. So I will end again those three affirmations, again touching any part of the body lovingly and kindly. Deham ham, I am the body. Manasuham, I am the intelligence of the body. Shakti ham, I am the life energy in it.